Leah from VinceLeah.com, and I've been doing a lot of savory recipes lately, so I thought it was time to change things up a bit and knock out a dessert. So today we're gonna be doing some vegan Oreo cookies. And I used to love Oreo cookies as a kid, and I know what you're thinking, aren't Oreos already vegan? Well, there is some debate whether they use bone char in the sugar, but regardless, have you seen the ingredient list on the back of the Oreo cookies? There's at least 20 ingredients, including sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and a bunch of other things that I can't pronounce that I really don't want to be putting into my body. So I found a recipe from the Minimalist Baker, and she has some vegan Oreos that are also gluten-free, sugar-free, and only take 7 ingredients. Now, I've never had a sugar-free Oreo before, but I'm interested to give this one a try and see how it tastes. So let me know in the comments whether you were just as addicted to Oreo cookies growing up as I was, but let's go ahead and make some vegan Oreos. Now, there are 2 parts for this recipe, the filling and the cookie. Now, the filling only takes 2 ingredients, and for that, you will need 1 cup of coconut butter and a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now, for the cookie, you will need the following ingredients. 1.5 cups of raw almonds or walnuts, and for this recipe, I went ahead and decided to use both. 7 pitted medjool dates, and if your dates are a little dry, just go ahead and soak them in some warm water for about 10 minutes. 3 tablespoons of coconut oil, 1/3 cup of raw cacao powder, and finally, a pinch of salt. The first thing we want to do is make the filling. Take the coconut butter and vanilla and place them into a food processor and mix them together. Now, if you want, you could also add an additional sweetener like stevia or powdered sugar, but we're keeping this recipe sugar-free. Now, when this is done, set it aside and let's move on to the cookie. To make the cookie, place the almonds and walnuts into a food processor and pulse until they are small pieces. Then, add the dates, coconut oil, cacao powder, and salt. You can also add 1 tablespoon of maple syrup to this as well, but we're gonna leave that out for this recipe, but feel free to add that if you like. Next, process the ingredients until everything is mixed together well, and you should be left with a dough-like consistency that sticks together. Next, line a large cutting board with parchment paper and place the dough in the center. You wanna form the dough into a 1-inch disc with your hands, and then top the dough with another piece of parchment paper. Next, take a rolling pin and roll out the dough until it's about a 1/4 inch thick. Now, you can see I'm not very experienced with a rolling pin, but we're gonna make this work. Now take that top layer of parchment paper off the dough and start cutting out your cookies with a cookie cutter. Now, you wanna make sure you do an even amount because you're gonna need a top and bottom layer for the cookie. And you may notice that the cookie cutter that I'm using is a lot larger than what's recommended in the recipe, so we're gonna have fewer cookies and they're all gonna be a little bigger. Now place the cookies in a plate and place them in the freezer for about 15 minutes. After about 15 minutes, the cookies have hardened, so go ahead and take that filling and start placing it on half of the cookies. Now, the recipe recommends 1 teaspoon. However, since mine are much bigger, I'm gonna be using 1 tablespoon. I'm not sure if that's the correct amount, but we'll see how this goes. Now place them back in the freezer for just a few minutes to harden up. Now you can see when I take them out that there actually is a little too much cream on here, so I went ahead and took a knife and flattened them out, and now you can see it's gonna be much easier to make these Oreo cookies. Now simply place that other half of the Oreo cookie on top of the filling, and you're ready to eat some Oreos. Alright, so my Oreo cookies are done, and because I used a larger cookie cutter and I put a little too much filling in each cookie, I ended up basically with an Oreo sandwich rather than an Oreo cookie. But hey, there are worse things in life. And in addition to these being vegan, they're also raw since I didn't cook anything. And I always enjoyed that crunch of the Oreo cookie, and then I could always dunk it in the milk when I was a kid. Now, I think I can still dunk these, but they're not gonna have that crunch. And I never had a raw Oreo cookie, so let's see how these taste. Now, these cookies are delicious, and the fact that it's a raw dessert, it still has that Oreo cookie flavor to it, which is pretty amazing. So I definitely recommend you give these a try, except in the right sizes and proportions, so you're not left with this Oreo sandwich unless you want that, and I definitely recommend you may want to give that a try. So let me know in the comments what your favorite cookie is, and let's go ahead and veganize it. So I'll go ahead and leave a link to this recipe on the Minimalist Baker's website in the description box below, so you can check it out. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel as I post new videos every week, and join the Fit From Food notification squad by clicking on that bell next to the subscribe button so you'll be notified every time I post a new video. And remember to keep living Fit From Food, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.